Hi and welcome to Z Games. Recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios in Brisbane and broadcast nationally over the Community Radio Network, Z Games brings you the latest gaming news, reviews and interviews from across Australia and around the world.
You are listening to Z Games, and this is Australia's premier gaming radio show. We are coming to you live from your own house, in fact. We are where you're not in your house, and we are going through your things looking for valuables, and there's a reason for that. But for now, joining me in your house, Mr. Razor.
Hey!
There he is. Jody McGregor.
Hello.
Ms. Candi Payne.
Hi.
And I'm Lee. Razor, what's happening on this episode of Z Games?
Well, we're well and truly into release season. There's a bunch of great releases coming out this month as far as big blockbusters. Lee and Jody, you guys have been playing the reboot of Thief.
Yes, we have. We've been stealing all the things.
All of the things.
Mm-hmm. Especially the scissors. I like stealing scissors. What do you like to steal, Lee?
Yeah, scissors are a real highlight. When I open a door and see a pair of scissors, I'm really, really excited. But I also like mirrors and brushes. Those are good too.
Candi, you'll be talking to us about Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Zombies.
But let's kick this episode off as usual with the week in gaming news headlines, if you will, Ms. Candi Payne.
Thank you, Razor. Jack Tretton, CEO and President of Sony Computer Entertainment America, has announced that he will be leaving his position at the end of March. Tretton has been the leader and public face of Sony's computer entertainment division for nearly 20 years and has overseen the Western launch of every PlayStation console since the original one in '94. A statement by Sony said that Tretton's departure was the result of a mutual agreement between Tretton and the company. Sean Layden, a 14-year veteran of Sony Computer Entertainment International, will replace Tretton at the beginning of April.
Now, we were talking about this earlier. Razor, you're madly in love with Jack Tretton, and this has broken your heart. Is that correct?
A little. Right. No, I'm not in love with him. But I think he will be missed at E3. I mean, he does his annual, the direction Sony's taking every year, and it'll be a bit strange to see another person
Will it be a hollow show without him there? Is that what you're saying?
The show is actually already hollow.
Hollower.
Yeah, slightly more hollow. But this is certainly unexpected. I mean, maybe he wanted to leave while the PlayStation seemingly was on the way up. I mean, it seems a strange time to abandon the Sony ship now.
Did he write a note or anything? I mean, how do you feel about this?
How do I feel?
Yeah.
I'm not that upset.
Yeah.
I'm sure the next guy will do just as good a job.
Okay. All right. You're optimistic then.
Yes.
That's nice. There's hope for you.
The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt has been delayed. Previously expected sometime before the end of this year, the new launch date has been named as February 2015. An open letter from the developers at CD Projekt Red said that they were taking the time to fine-tune and polish the game, which they claim has an explorable area 50 times larger than the one found in The Witcher 2.
Okay, this news actually devastated me, and I'm too emotional right now to be able to discuss it any further.
Oh.
Yeah, this is actually one of my most anticipated sort of next-gen games of this year. I guess I'll have to make it for next year.
Yeah.
Maybe they're putting in all of this extra effort to make the main character not sound like a knob end this time.
Ooh, controversial.
His voice is awful.
No.
He sounds like a tool, and
No. Shocking.
That's
You're a
part of
tool, Jody.
Well, fine.
Yeah.
Part of the fine-tuning.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, crush.
I think it's fine that they're delaying it. I mean, as long as... I'd rather that than they release a crap product or a buggy game or something. I mean, a lot of other studios could certainly learn and do this instead.
On the topic of delayed releases, a Sony rep has stated in an interview that PS4 exclusive Drive Club has been taken back to the drawing board and would not confirm a 2014 release. The game was originally to be a launch title for the PS4 before it was postponed just weeks before the November launch.
Yeah, I don't really care about that. Just me personally.
Great
I'm just
news.
talking on my behalf.
Okay.
Great. Halloween-themed role-playing game Costume Quest will be receiving a sequel. Double Fine is developing the game, which will be called Costume Quest 2.
That is all we know, but that is I'm anticipating that one. I'm very excited about that announcement. The last one was just lovely. Just a perfectly constructed little game, and I kind of want to see where they take it now, especially since I think the lead designer has left Double Fine and now works for Pixar, so
Brisbane-based mobile developer Halfbrick has announced that their next game, Bears vs. Art, a preview video of the game reveals that it is a puzzle game where the player must guide bears around an art gallery in order to destroy pieces of art.
I am upset that we had them in here and they did not secretly tell us this, you know.
I know, we were asking.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah.
But they know
kept it
better
under
than to tell
wraps.
us, though.
I thought we were
Yeah.
friends, Halfbrick, you know.
We are, but I mean, would you trust us in their position? I sure as hell wouldn't.
Everything we say goes immediately into a microphone and then is broadcast around the world. That's true.
Yeah, we could have had an awesome exclusive.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to playing this game. And it's out now in Australia, isn't it?
Yeah, Australia and Canada on iOS
Yep.
for free.
Jody, you've watched the trailer, did you say?
Yeah, I saw the trailer for it this morning, and it is about bears who hate subtext destroying modern art.
Brilliant. Hearthstone Heroes of Warcraft, a digital collectible card game based on the Warcraft franchise, has been officially released this week. The game is free to play via battle.net for Windows and Mac. Mike Morhaime, co-founder and CEO of Blizzard, said in a statement, "We apologise for the lost productivity." Z Games featured a preview of Hearthstone last year in which Z Games reviewer and King Razor described the game as pretty sweet. How did you say it, Ray? Pretty sweet.
I thought it was pretty sweet.
Pretty sweet.
Yep. Yeah, no, like that game. I haven't played it in the last couple of weeks, but highly recommended. Very addictive. Yeah, I'd like to be a pro one day, but I'd probably have to sacrifice other areas of my life.
What do you got left?
That's a good question. Maybe I should just throw it all in and become a Hearthstone pro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Disney Interactive Studios, Disney's game development division, has announced a company restructuring resulting in the loss of 700 jobs. This number accounts for around 25% of Disney's game staff worldwide. The studio was responsible for most of the various Disney proprietary tie-in games over the past 20 years and has said that in-development titles Disney Infinity and Fantasia Music Evolved will not be affected by the layoffs. A major restructuring of the company was expected as Disney Interactive has suffered losses of $1.3 billion since 2008.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of money to lose, and that's certainly a lot of jobs to lose as well. 700. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Disney have been trying to kind of get out of the AAA game scene at least for a while, ever since I guess the Mickey game,
Epic Mickey.
Epic Mickey, ever since that collapsed.
Not so epic.
Yeah, so it's a bit disappointing that this has happened though.
Yeah.
Good burn, by the way.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Glad you heard it. Subtle. Last year's Tomb Raider reboot has exceeded profit expectations, according to Crystal Dynamics studio head Daryl Gallagher. A year after release, the game has shipped 6 million copies and is fast on its way to becoming the best-selling title in the franchise's history. A month after the release of the game, publisher Square Enix said that it was preparing for extraordinary losses after the game initially did not perform as well as expected.
So that's good.
They turned that around.
Yeah.
They're working on a sequel to that one now, aren't they?
I hope so.
I believe that is the case, but I don't think we know anything beyond there is a sequel to that good Tomb Raider game.
Cool. Well, that's it
That's all
for
I
the
got.
news. Excellent. Next up, Lee and Jody are going to be telling us all about the brand new Thief reboot.
You are listening to Z Games. We are Australia's most beloved gamer radio show. Jody McGregor, you have been playing Thief. What have you been playing it on? Tell us about Thief.
I have been playing Thief on my PC. This is the reboot of the series that started in 1998 and popularized the stealth genre. There were a couple of stealth games before this where you snuck around and knocked people unconscious, but this is the series. It's the reason why we have Assassin's Creed and Hitman and Dishonored. But all of those games that followed after it are games about being assassins and hitmen and killing people, whereas Thief was not. It encouraged you to do non-fatal things.
Yeah, you were very
to
bad
win.
at killing, weren't you, in Thief?
Yeah, you were. You were much better at, clobbering guards with a blackjack and then piling them in a corner somewhere. But actual fighting somebody with a sword was the worst possible thing you could do because you would lose.
You mean Jody
No,
specifically, or the character?
the character that you play, this master thief named Garrett, who is crap at fighting. And that's why the system was designed the way it was, to emphasize stealth, because that's how you win.
Jody, do you mind if I ask about your personal history with the franchise? From what I understand, you're kind of a bit of a Thief fan.
Now, don't admit to anything that might incriminate you, Jody, without your lawyer present.
Yeah, I'm only a kleptomaniac in video games and
Me
not
too.
in real life.
Just for the record, me too.
You are a psychopath in real life, though. Thief, I played in about 1999, shortly after it came out, and it's one of my favorite games of all time. It's the sort of game that if you play it late at night with the lights off, you can get very immersed in, and also scare the hell out of yourself whenever a loud noise happens. It's actually very tense to be a character who's crap at fighting in a game.
So coming into this game, when you first heard about it, you were did you approach it with were you eager to get into it, or were you a bit wary about someone possibly mishandling your beloved franchise?
Yeah, I was pretty wary because the trailers and marketing for this made it seem like they'd played up the action, and they showed a lot of like slow motion clobbering people pretty brutally and running away from explosions.
A lot of explosions in all of the that is a bad heist. That is a cat burglar's job has gone wrong if everything is on fire behind you.
Yeah.
No stealth.
That's
at
not
all.
how you're supposed to do things.
Yeah.
And they did sell the game very badly. When I started playing it, was surprised that things weren't on fire all the time. They have actually made a stealth game that is better than the ads made it look, although it's not a great stealth game. It's still about being a master thief in this sort of steampunk Victorian city, breaking into people's houses and pinching all of their stuff. And that bit's good, the pinching especially.
That bit is wonderful.
Yeah, it's a first-person game where you can see your hands almost all the time. So every time you grab a shiny fork or a particularly valuable pair of scissors, you see Garrett's hands reach out and grab them, and he opens drawers and he pinches piles of coins, and then they ka-ching into your pockets. And it's really pleasing, the tactile animation of him just sweeping across a desk, getting every single little thing. I didn't get bored of it, and you see it a lot.
Yeah.
Like, that's 90% of the game is watching his hands grab stuff.
Yeah, if the game were just going into places and taking the things which you would expect from a game called Thief, then it would, get a 10 out of 10 from me. All I want to do is, jimmy open windows and then get coins and rings and look at them. The little hand animations are really quite articulate, and they linger just long enough for you to. It's almost like he's holding up candy rather than just treasure. There's just something really, really wonderful about it that just scratches my brain in exactly the right way.
Yeah, when you find a unique piece of loot, something really special, he'll even comment on it and be like, "Oh, this is a nice find," and you're like, "Yes, it is. Thank you, Garrett. I did
I've
well
done
there."
well.
Yes. The other thing that they get right is the sneaking. You're ducking from shadow to shadow in these kind of games a lot. So Dishonored got around that being sort of a boring thing to do for 20 hours by giving you the blink move where you could teleport around. And Thief has a similar-ish thing called the swoop move, which it isn't teleporting, but you lunge forward and duck a short distance from... It's basically an ideal distance to get from one pool of shadow to the next. And it's really fun to do. Like, your whole viewpoint sort of narrows and ducks as you lunge forward, and you hear this whooshing noise, like as if your cloak is sweeping out behind you. And I could do that all day.
Yeah,
I could pick stuff up and swoop all day long.
It's like the Dracula button, that's how he gets around in the darkness, just that whoosh, whoosh. And I think
there were hand movements
it was
with
fantastic.
that sound,
Well, there are
everybody.
hand movements with the game as well. It's one of the criticisms that I have with the genre that it's mostly like 40 hours of you crouched in the corner and moving around like that, even though that is ideal and it ramps up the tension. It's not particularly fun to just be plodding along at a snail's pace, and having this as an option really changes the way that you think about stealth as well. I think you're allowed to actually have sudden, quick movements to react to things, which I've not really encountered before, I don't think.
Yeah, I was watching a video of somebody playing the original Thief after playing this, and my first reaction was like, why aren't you swooping? It's like, press the spacebar, dude. Oh, wait, you couldn't do that before. It seems like such a natural thing that I expect it to be everywhere after this.
All games need the swoop button.
Or the blink button. Just there needs to be a get from here to there immediately button, because that is a fun thing to do in games. Walking is boring. I don't want to walk everywhere.
Yeah.
Just
crawling, even worse.
Yeah, screw crawling.
Yeah. So you have some problems with this game, though, Jody.
Yeah, I do have some pretty big problems.
But we may get to those when we return.
We may.
Yes, we will. That's the Z Games guarantee.
Nice.
Now, we were talking about the recently released reboot of Thief, which is available for the Xbox 360, PS3, Xbox One, PS4, and the PC. Jody, you did say what was right about the game. Now, you did have some misgivings about it as well?
Yeah, I mentioned that the ads showed a lot of explosions and things burning and a lot of running away, and that's in here as well. Each level builds to this climax. There's a cutscene, and then you get to watch Garrett do some cool things that you don't do, and then you're thrust into this not very stealthy kind of situation. Sometimes you're being chased by guard dogs across a rooftop. At one point, there's a boss battle you get pushed into, which is the worst idea in a stealth game. Boss fights don't work in a game about sneaking.
And how do the guard dogs get on the roof?
They
Catapults.
chase you. they just get up there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they are really silly and out of place, and obviously you've been pushed in there because somebody said this is a really hard game to sell because no action happens if you play it well, so we better put some like burning bridges for the player to run across like they're in Uncharted or Tomb Raider or something. And then
So for the listeners who maybe aren't as familiar with the stealth genre as you and I are, what's your ideal sort of stealth mission? How does that play out, and how is this, the wrong way of going about it?
Well, the best way for it to work is to give you the freedom to decide how it works yourself. The ideal is that you have a job to do and a limited location. There might be a building you have to get into and something you have to get out of that building. So you choose how to get in, whether you drug all of the guard dogs and go in through the window, or sneak in through the sewers, or find the secret back entrance, or just murder everybody and walk in like a character in a John Woo movie. And then once you're inside, you sneak around taking all of the stuff, and then if you're really good, you get out and nobody saw you at all. Or my favorite way to finish is to annoy every single person and set off the alarms, and then just bolt for the exit with all of them behind me shooting over my head, because that's fun. But I also like to have the option.
Unstealth.
I also like to have the option to then reload and do it the proper way, and then just sort of climb out a window with a bag full of all the money on my back, and nobody knew I was there. But this game forces you to do it the way they want you to do it. They push you into a situation where you have to do a specific thing at the end of each level, and that takes away one of the most fun things about these games, is getting to choose.
Yeah.
Maybe I would have chosen to run across a building being chased by guard dogs if I knew that was an option, but I didn't get to choose that, and so it's less satisfying, especially because in a lot of these levels I was being very sneaky and nobody saw me, and then in a cutscene you get discovered and then you have to play out the chase.
That's one of my major bugbears in video games, is that as soon as the controls are taken away from you, your character is suddenly incompetent. And I remember that specifically happening a lot in Mass Effect, where I was very, very good, and then as soon as my guy was doing his thing, he was very bad. He would always miss shots that I would make.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, well, it's something that the original Thief games never did, because they never had cutscenes in the middle of a level. They were always between levels. So for the entire time that you were playing the game, you were in complete control. And if you were listening in on a conversation related to the plot on the other side of a doorway, and you chose to wander off and just go to the next room and steal all of the stuff, you could. But this is constantly interrupting you in the missions with cutscenes to force you to sit through conversations about what's happening and push you into these action scenes, and none of them are as good as the things that happen when you're in control.
these are also quite expensive things for them to have produced as well. Like all that voice work and all those cutscenes, they, those are assets that probably could have been redirected towards, say, making a stealth game that works.
Yeah, or even having more than one transition where you go from place to place, because almost every time you leave one part of the city for the next in this, you have to walk through the exact same alleyway and push the exact same beam out of your way with a QuickTime event. I've seen that beam in about 15 different locations in this game, and it's the same every time. And it was tedious the first time, mashing the E button to lift a piece of wood. That was boring once. I did that about 20 times.
I like that's interactive, but all the cool stuff that Garrett does in the cutscenes, that's you have no control over. But the beam, that's you.
I made that beam my bitch.
Yeah.
But there's a part where you're hiding underneath a bed and people are fighting in the room. They don't know you're there, and one of them knocks something over and the broom catches fire. And you're watching all of this happen in a cutscene thinking, this would be a really tense scene if I was in control of what was happening. If I had to decide when can I duck out of this room without these people seeing me. But that happens when you're not in control, so that it can happen the way the game wants it to happen.
There's an issue that I had with it that made it virtually unplayable as a stealth game, which is to do with the sound as well. Jody, did you have problems with that?
Yes, I did have problems with the sound. It doesn't spread very well. It doesn't feel like they put a huge amount of effort into making 3D sound, which is a thing that you need in a stealth game that you don't need as much in other games, because when you're hiding in the shadows and you can't see very much, you need to be able to tell when guards are walking past you just by hearing them. And the sound in this is so awful that you just can't tell. Things that are a block away from you sound like they're happening in your eardrums, and things that are really close to you will make no noise at all. And at one point there's a level set in a brothel, and I was sneaking around in the secret sort of rooms behind the rooms, and I could hear a fat man begging a dominatrix to slap him as if it was happening in my head, through a wall, down a hallway, and then up a flight of stairs. The volume didn't change the entire time.
Jody, I have something to tell you.
Yeah, that's just a thing I imagine.
Yeah, there's no fat man begging to be slapped. The fat man begging to be slapped in your head was you all along.
That's a twist.
Yeah.
That's not right. I'm sorry. Right.
So it sounds like a lot of the problems you have with this game aren't directly related to the fact that it has the thief name attached and it wasn't delivering what you expected, but it's just maybe a subpar stealth game all around. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't mind that it's a reboot that ignores a lot of stuff about the original, because those games did the things they did well, and I don't mind. Like, they had a part of the setting was this religious conflict between secret cults, and that was neat, and that's not in this, and I don't care. I don't care that they stripped out things that the original did because they wanted to go in a different direction. I care that they got things wrong that they were trying to do right. Like, the audio glitches go beyond just the how far away things are. Sometimes you hear people talking, and then before they finished, they start repeating the same bit of dialogue, so you can hear them saying it twice at the same time.
What are you playing it on?
I'm playing it on PC.
Okay.
It's been patched once, and I haven't installed that patch yet, but
I understand
it was a big problem.
PC version is also actually the most stable, that the consoles are, they're just, it's a bad port, essentially. So the problems that we have are exacerbated on the console, so enjoy that. You have a PS4 or Xbox One.
Because that's more than just a glitch. Like, that's significantly affecting gameplay.
Well, it's just the style of game. I mean, it's a stealth game where you're a thief and you need to use all your senses. Just to have that element of it, like, broken I imagine would be terrible.
It's the sort of thing where, there are bad games that have mediocre sound, and that's fine. I wish this had mediocre sound. It's that this is actually so badly engineered that it takes away one of the very important tools that you have. And that's the major problem with it. Like, I wish it were just, shoddy. That'd be great. I could work with shoddy. But this is actually deceptive.
And lastly, Jody, I'd just like to ask you to compare it to last year's Dishonored, which I believe when it came out, some people said, "Oh, this is the Thief Killer." Do you think that, in retrospect, now having played the latest Thief game, that this is the case?
I do think that Dishonored was a better reboot of Thief than this reboot of Thief is. It was similar in some ways. There was a power in Dishonored called what was it called? Dark Vision, that let you highlight things in the environment that were important while you were, hiding in the shadows. And there's a focus mode in this that's basically identical, but it worked better in Dishonored, even when it feels like Thief is borrowing from Dishonored. Dishonored did it better. So I would definitely recommend Dishonored above Thief.
Excellent. Would you like to add any comments to the end of that review?
The one thing that I haven't mentioned that I did like about it was that the options give you a lot of ways to personalize your own difficulty. There are things like waypoint markers that tell you where to go next all the time, and I could just reach into the options menu and turn them off. And you can turn off the glinting ka-ching thing that loot does so that you can always see it, and you can change the display in a lot of ways to make it work the way you want it to work. And I was very glad they'd done that. I just wish that they put that much effort into the rest of the game.
Thanks, Jody. We have been talking about Thief. Next up, Candi's going to be telling us all about Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare.
Hello and welcome back to Zed Games. You just heard Dirty Vibe by Skrillex, a song I've heard 4 times today, and even more the 4th time I've heard it. Candi,
yes,
you have been playing Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, a game I'm pretty excited about as well.
Oh, good. That's good.
Are you enjoying it?
I
know you are.
I am. I can't even stop smiling. It is the cutest game. It is such an adorable game. I came into this a little nervous when Razor told me I was going to have to get online, and it was all multiplayer because everybody knows I don't enjoy playing with strangers online.
You don't like people.
I don't like people. No, that's not true.
No, screw people. You're right. Yeah, they suck, people.
No, look, I'm one of those old gamers. I like either playing on the couch next to a person or playing by myself in a story mode. I don't care for joining strangers online. However, I may have been swayed just a little because I am
Were you
quite
bribed?
enjoying it. No, I wasn't. No, I said that too quickly. No, I'm actually just really enjoying. So, Plants vs. Zombies, if you're not familiar, it was a franchise that came out. It was a mobile game years ago now, like 4 years ago.
Yeah, tower defense style, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah,
Lane defense. I
Lane
believe.
defense.
Yeah.
So very different to Garden Warfare.
It is very different, yes. So obviously in the phone game there was zombies, hordes of zombies were attacking you. You had to defend your house by putting blockers in the way, essentially.
Plants that shot stuff.
Exactly. This has taken it to a whole new, incredible 3D world, and I'm loving it. You can play as a zombie, you can play, I love playing as zombies. I've been doing a lot of that. Or you can, of course, do the original game and play as plants. There are multiple different modes. So what would you like to hear about first? The multiplayer stuff or, the garden ops? Everything.
Why don't you start off with the multiplayer stuff?
Multiplayer, there are a few different modes that you can play in. There's gardens and graveyards is one of them, and basically it's there is a giant plant in the middle that you kind of it's an expanding map, and you can play as either the plants or the zombies, and you have to try and take over. I think there's 6 different gardens. So as a plant, you're either defending your garden, or as a zombie, you're trying to capture the garden, and then you move across this map. So you're in different situations, different scenes, different locations as you move around the map. So that's gardens and graveyards. There is the beginning one. It's a nice, easy one for people to get started, called the Welcome Mat. Pretty much you pick a team and you go out and vanquish. So it was great for me because every time you die, you respawn with bigger health points.
Oh.
Really good, because
wow.
it actually took me a little while. Yeah, because it's crazy.
Noob friendly.
Yeah, so
That's a good idea.
Loved
Yeah.
it because I was dying a lot to start with because I didn't know what was going on, and I was shooting and people were shooting me, and there was really because you can customize your characters, you see, and that people were coming with big weapons and tricks and things that I couldn't defend, so I was being blown up every 5 seconds.
Well, what
That's a
kind
good
of
one.
what kind of a plant were you playing when you started?
I have played through all of them. So there are the ones that you start with. There's 4 plants to choose from. You get the little pea shooter, which everybody knows from the game. That's great. The sunflower, which is the healing plant and provides the sunbeams, and you go and get better.
Makes sense.
The chomper, it's like that thing from the musical Audrey. Nobody knows musicals.
It's a
Why am I
Audrey
asking
from-
you guys
yeah.
about that?
Yeah, from
Little Shop
Suddenly
of
sing-
Shop of
Little
Horrors.
Shop of Horrors,
Yes.
that's the one. Yeah, so
Maybe
it's one of those.
you
Venus
forget your
flytrap.
actual audience here.
You all are into musicals. That's,
So Chomper eats zombies.
yeah. Yes, in many different ways. It's great. I'll get to that. And then there's a cactus who fires little spiky things, and it's great. So you start on the basic level with each of these characters. You can customize them along the way. So you can actually just change how they look. You collect stickers. You see, like Crazy Dave's, you go to the store and you buy stickers, collectible cards, those sorts of things. In collecting those, you are adding appearances, and you are adding different weapons and
Hats.
Hats, sunglasses. Like, you can look like pretty much anything.
Can you be a sunflower wearing shades?
Yes.
Good.
That's
Sold.
actually
Yeah,
incredibly
done.
common.
There we go.
Everybody chooses sunglasses. I'm like, seriously. Seriously. I saw
we
a
all
cactus.
remember those things from the 80s and 90s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you have a saxophone?
You laugh now. I walked past a cactus who had Christmas trees for hands. See, anything goes in this game, and it's
I like
brilliant.
hats.
Anything
Anything,
goes.
anything goes. So anyway, so these are the characters you choose from. You customize, and of course, as you progress through the game, you're building up points. Points allow you to buy things and allows your character to get bigger and better and stronger. There's also little achievements along the way, like in the game that you do. If you knock down 3 zombies in 10 seconds or something like that, then bonus points for you as well. So those sorts of things keep you totally on your toes whilst you're out trying to kill zombies because you're trying to improve yourself and get achievements.
You were telling us about the different modes before you got sidetracked by the different types of
Who
plants.
asked me about cacti? Cacti,
I needed to know
Yeah.
about the pea shooters.
So
the pea shooters.
What's this garden ops you were talking about?
Garden Ops. Oh, the original. Yeah, so that is more like the original game used to be, where you come up as the plant and you are defending the house. Essentially, only it's not a house in this one, it's the garden. So you're protecting the garden. Crazy Dave has gone far, far away, and you are essentially babysitting the space, keeping it free of zombies until he returns. So there are 10 waves with these hordes of zombies coming at you, like everybody remembers, and it gets bigger and harder and stronger and longer, and that's kind of it. And so that's the one where people join into the team, and that's where you can only play as the plants.
Right, so the zombies in this are computer-controlled characters.
Oh, so it's like a horde mode?
Yeah, it's a horde
Yes,
mode.
it's a horde mode.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, so the waves of zombies
Okay,
come through.
cool.
So yes, so that's the original Garden Ops. Then the multiplayer is when you can join teams of up to like 30 people or something, and people can come and go, drop in and out as they please.
Yep.
And I mean, most of the modes are pretty much the same. It's it's vanquishing. First team to kill 50 of the other team
Like
is
team
is pretty much
deathmatch
the
kind of
winner.
thing.
Yeah,
So-
so that's it.
This seems like they've taken a lot of styles and game types that are popular amongst Battlefield and Call of Duty,
Call
that
of
sort of
Duty,
thing. So
yep.
but it's being rendered through this cutesy cartoon world
Yes.
A bit
of
like
hilarious
Team
violence.
Fortress 2.
That's right.
And with the hats as well, right?
Yeah. So what I'm wondering is, did you get a sense of the audience for this? Who are you playing with?
Well, and this is probably going to be my only criticism. It ties in nicely. I don't know who the audience is, and I'm sure a lot of people can debate it. And at first glance, I would have said it's a kids' game because it's all cutesy and there's no swearing and it's all nobody dies in any violent way and everybody respawns and it's happy, happy, joy, joy. However, I don't know because it's so much fun. I don't know why adults wouldn't want to play it. Like, it's not just a kids game. It's adorable, and adults like get really competitive. And having listened to people that are wearing headsets and talking, I can clearly hear that there are kids and adults playing. And this is my criticism. The only thing in this game I do not like is that once the game has commenced, you cannot turn people's speakers off. And that infuriates me. There is one
There's no way
music
to mute
option.
people?
You can beforehand. You have to go and individually click on the people that have a little music icon or a speaker icon next to them and mute them. or you can log out altogether, go into your like Xbox settings and toggle the mute for all of the people that are trying to be your friend. That I hate because there is one master music button and I don't want to turn the sound down and I don't want to turn the music down because it's a super catchy tune that everybody remembers from the phone game. But I'm sorry, the guy that was sitting there eating chips, it was so repulsive. I was up to 117 zombie kills. Like my record, I was stoked, man. I'd been playing this game for like 20 minutes, had to log out because I couldn't put up with the crunching anymore. That was revolting.
To be fair, though, like an online shooter, if all you get is chip crunching, I think you are still in some kind of nirvana.
Well, no, but see, then this is the thing. Then there was a kid who was singing along to music that he had in the background, and I was like, I don't want to hear it.
No, that's still better than what we have to put up with.
Oh, no, I get that. But hell, again,
but it's still annoying.
I'm new to this, remember? Like, this is the reason I don't play those sorts of things, because I don't like hearing strangers and what they're doing in their own homes. And that is my only criticism. So I don't know what the answer is to that question. I don't know what the demographic is.
The demographic is annoying, I think.
It's annoying. No, it's not. No, the answer is that clearly it's open to anyone. If you come into this liking the original Plants vs. Zombies, you're going to love this. If you come into this liking those sorts of shooter games, you're going to think it's super cute. It's not violent, so maybe if that's...
That is what Gears fans are
like
into, though, mostly.
Yeah, no, I realise that. But, you know, it has those elements in it. And if you like the multiplayer aspect and you want to get online and talk to strangers, then this has got that as well. So those are all the things that I really like.
Excellent. I have one more question,
actually. No, I got loads to talk about.
I've got a question as well after
Please
you,
go.
Lee.
Okay, it's to do with the longevity. Do you think that people will still be playing this in 6 months' time?
Look, I'm embarrassed to say this because no game like this has ever kept me so entertained. That's not true. Candy Crush was one, I admit. I was super hooked. The original Plants vs. Zombies.
Oh,
No, look, I'm not going to lie. Everybody knew I got slightly addicted and I wanted to be playing that.
How much money did you spend on
You're part of the problem, Candy.
I didn't spend any. I was one of those dedicated people that just worked really hard at getting points. And
how much money did you really spend on Candy Crush?
No, I didn't. I was really good because I also don't like doing that, so I didn't spend any money. However, anyway, so there was that, and then there was the original phone game. Let's not get off topic here.
Yeah.
So the original Plants vs. Zombies was the only phone game I have ever actually got to the very end of and then gone back and wanted to go through the achievements. And so I went into it being a fan of the franchise, and yeah, that's... yeah.
So your answer is good game.
I'm super addicted. I think people will be playing it in 6 months because I find I actually just want to go home and log on and better myself. That's what it is. Like, I can see my scores building up, and now I just want to top like 117 kills.
Oh, that's funny. It seems like previously you weren't into the sort of team-based deathmatch games, but this kind of eased you in using the Plants vs. Zombies franchise.
It was very smart.
It's a
Plus
gateway
it's
drug.
Gateway, yeah.
Well, it is just really well done. It's the music as well. The music is so catchy. Once you get that tune in your head,
yeah, I love the music too.
That's what it is, and so all these wonderful things come together. Plus, it is just beautifully done. I find no flaws with the graphics. It moves so smoothly. It gives you wonderful little hints and tips on, you know, if you're a person that's going to get frustrated, like lopping around really slowly, then go for the sunflower. Be the healing plant. Don't go into battle, but stay back and help your friends, because that one also moves the fastest. So it gives you those sorts of little things so that, or if you want to just jump around slowly, then be the fat cactus. You know, like it tells you those things. I also love that you can play as a zombie, and I didn't get to do that on the phone, and now I'm loving that I can be a zombie.
Can I ask about the zombies?
Yes.
Because you told us in depth about the different plant characters that you could be. What about the different types of zombies that you can be?
So comes with a healing one as well, which is like a crazy scientist. That's the one you want to be if you want to go out and help people. Then there is the all-star football player who kind of like does these like lunging moves into people. There's an engineer with a plumber's crack. I love him, actually. I'm loving that character. And then there's a little skinny little foot soldier, that kind of lopsided run. But he gets around quite quickly and he can jump very high. So they've all got really amazing skills, and it kind of just depends what angle or what approach to fighting you have. Like, if you don't want to be on the front line because you're not that great at aiming, go for one of the healing characters.
Is there a disco zombie who dances?
Yeah, he comes out. I haven't played him. I don't know that you can play him.
Right, he's like a boss thing?
Yeah, they come out in one of the waves, like in the garden ops, yeah. So No, that's hard because they do not die. They just dance around you, and then they just dance
Disco
more and more.
will never die.
No, it is not. It is well and truly alive in zombie form in this game. So, yes.
Great. Thank you very much
Good
for that
call,
review.
man.
Thanks for that review, Candi.
That's all right.
That was Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare.
Warfare.
You reviewed that for the Xbox 360,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also available for the Xbox One.
You do need a gold account to get on, obviously, to get on and do online stuff.
Yep.
So,
It's also coming out for the PC later this year.
ooh, no longer an exclusive.
Cool. All right. That's going to bring us to the close of this week's edition of Z Games. As usual, thanks very much for listening, guys. Next week, we'll be back at the same time, and we'll be reviewing South Park: The Stick of Truth.
Awesome.
And there's also one small little game that you may have heard of, Lee.
Yes, we might be talking about Titanfall, which launches this week. Very excited. Big robots punching things.
Fantastic.
Nice.
Candi, I believe that you wanted to say something to listeners before we go. Something that you never get to do.
Oh, what was it? I forgot. Oh, bye. I want to say goodbye, everybody. Bye,
And what about our various online resources, Lee?
Yes, you can find us on Facebook at ZGamesAU. You can find us on Twitter at
ZGamesAU.
ZGamesAU. We're also on iTunes, and we have a ZGames blog.
No.
No, what is the blog, Candi?
It's a good question, Razor.
ZGamesAU.net.
There we go. Go to all of these resources and
Just
download
Google
everything.
us. Yeah.
All right, we'll catch you guys next week.
Thanks for listening. This has been Z Games, recorded live in Brisbane on 4ZZZ and heard nationally thanks to the Community Radio Network. For more information on the show and to join the Z Games community, head to our website, zgamesau.net. That's spelt Z-E-D, or send us an email at contact@zgamesau.net. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. Z Games is produced with the assistance of the Community Broadcasting Foundation.